Hello, okay, back today with a warm-up routine, standing chair assisted warm-up. It can also be used as a bit of mobility, general mobility, active recovery. It's going to loosen up the lower body, all the hips, adductors, inner thighs, all that kind of stuff, glutes, all the things that can cause imbalances, aches and pains. So it'll be great as a bit of active recovery, help keep you loose, agile and pain free, but it's also a warm up variation. So first one I'm going to do, so I've got my chair. All I'm going to do, I'm going to put my right foot straight up, just coming up neutral, almost like you're marching on the spot. This gets into the hip flexors, which we've looked at in previous warm-ups and mobility routines. So all I'm doing is I'm standing square. I'm going to put my right foot on the chair. And I'm going to kick this one back a little bit. Got my 4 points alignment nice and upright, and you may feel a little bit in this hip flexor already. So we're looking for that biting point, that stretch in the hips. If you haven't really got it yet, you can just ease this left foot backwards, just open up a little bit more, and by easing the shoulders back into that 4 point alignment, I can really feel this hip flexor now. However, as it's a bit of mobility, you want to incorporate a bit of movement. So mobility for warming up, prepping for workouts, and just mobility movement is probably better for you than just static stretching anyway. However, you can check out some of the write-ups there, and that'll explain a bit more on that. So all I'm doing then, 4 points, I'm just easing back and forth, rocking from the hips. There's my mobility movement. Obviously when you're exercising, you're moving, so it's a great prep. But that momentum is good for opening up. You should feel no pain as I ease the hips forward, shoulders are coming back. You can really feel that hip flexor. You can have a lower chair or a higher chair. Obviously if the chair was higher, I wouldn't need to open up as much. Now from there, all I'm going to do is I'm going to hinge. So what I'm doing, just ease this back so you can see the chair. So I've done my hip rocks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to straighten this front leg, which is my right one. I've got a slight bend in that knee. Still got my 4 point alignment, so I'm not rounded, protecting this lower back, this lumbar. 4 point, I'm just going to hinge, chin forward, push my butt back, and I can feel this hamstring back up. So there's the movement. And you just go to your biting point. Avoid trying to round your lower back, your shoulders too much. Ease the butt backwards. So the butt's going backwards, elongating as the chin eases forward. Biting point, a little bit deeper each time. You're not forcing it. Exhale, relax the breathing. Brilliant. Now, spend a bit of time on it. You know, if it's really tight, 8 to 10 moves, a little bit longer. You should feel no pain. Obviously, there's going to be there might be a bit of tightness there, a bit of discomfort. It all depends where you're starting from. So all I'm going to do now is going to rock between the two. So I've got my hips, 1 to hamstring. Similar to our kneeling warm-up mobility routine. But even when I'm doing that hinge, you can see I'm trying to minimum of rounding the shoulders. Shoulders back on the hip flexor. Push the butt back and hinge. There you go. All I'm going to do is repeat that on the other side. So from this angle, that's coming up neutral. Might have to kick this one back slightly to find my stretch. Got my biting point. And just ease back and forth. As I ease the hips forward, the shoulders, upper body's coming back. It really opens up and elongates this hip flexor. Then I'm going to straighten the left leg, slight bend in the knee. All about the hamstring, back of the thigh. 4 points, tune up, push the butt back and hinge into that hamstring stretch. From this angle. You know, a bit of rounding's all right, but there's no need to be doing this when you can actually elongate, push the butt back. Oh yeah. Exhale, relax into it. So about 8 to 10 of each, a bit longer if it's tight, as mentioned, and then I'm going to alternate between the two. Hips, hamstring. Shoulders back, hips forward. Hinge, push the butt back. If it feels a bit looser and a bit warmer, a bit of speed, momentum is good. Brilliant. So hips and hamstrings are done. The next one we're going to look at is the adductors, inner thighs. So all I'm going to do, left foot on the bench, on the chair there, I'm going to kick this right one out. I'm going to try and keep this knee in line with my toe so it's not all sort of twisted. And because it's mobility movements, if I was doing a cool down stretch, I might just hold that toe up because it incorporates a bit of hamstring and calf as well. So I've got the adductor, hammy and calf. But because this is mobility, I want a bit of movement. So I've got my foot flat on that, you can see. And I'm just going to roll it back. So you can actually ease your butt back a little bit. Ease your butt back, roll the toe up, biting point 1, 2. Keeping the chin up, not rounding the shoulders. Taking care of the lower back, and as I roll up, you can feel adductors, hamstring, bit of calves. Might need to bend this standing leg slightly, or you could just find your biting point, just roll back. Obviously on that roll, I've got a slight bend on the opposite knee. And that toe goes right up. So from this angle and this side, so swapping sides now, toes going up. But what I am is kind of square. So by that, I'm not sort of trying to stay square. This leg is in line. Toe goes up, back down. And you see what I mean about I'm not rounding too much, keeping that chin up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Brilliant. And the next one is for the glutes. We're going to actually sit on the chair for this one. So a lot of people like this one. So I sit down, left one across right, and piriformis, the glutes. If it's tight in here, this knee will want to kick up. So all I'm going to look to do, 4 points, pushing my butt into the chair. And I'm just going to gently exhale and just try and square it up a little bit. I'm lifting it up. 1, 4 points in the shoulders, trying to keep alignment, not sort of coming forward, nice and upright. Just each time into that biting point in the glute. 8 to 10, swap sides. This one's a bit tighter, you can see. It's a good little test actually. If you're kicking out, want to knee yourself in the face, you need to do a bit of work on your piriformis. And if that's tight, it may be affecting your back. I'm just using this forearm, squaring it each time by keeping nice and upright. So it's almost like, imagine there's a string pulling your head up, keeping you nice and aligned. That string is pulling the head and posture up. And there we have it. I'm just going to finish with our chair assisted downward dog to hit all that back line. So feet a little bit wider than hip width. I'm going to hinge. So I'm not rounding, feet are flat, hands are on the chair, and all I'm going to do, take a nice big breath in, and I'm going to push my butt backwards, push the butt backwards. As I push the butt backwards, the coccyx is going upwards, which is the tailbone, upwards, hinging back, down through the heels. Let's just try that. Coccyx up, butt back, down through the heels. Oh yeah, 1. And again, 2. Now if that feels okay and it's not too uncomfortable, you can spend a bit of time on that. We should be easing a little bit, but what I'm trying not to do is do that rounding, which we looked at on the downward dog tutorial. I'm actually going to start dropping the forehead down towards the knees as I do this movement. So the glutes are going back, the coccyx is going up, and they're pushing down through the heels all at the same time. That's called a zip. Now the forehead is easing towards the knees. And we'll get more thoracic upper body. And from there, I'm going to start dropping the hips forward, so you might have to adjust the feet. And eyes up to the sky. Again, no pain. You should feel all this stretch. Opening up the anterior chain. And as this mobility movement. 1, 2. Looking for each move, not rounding. Pushing the glutes up, head down, down through the heels, not rounding. Eyes up. And about 5 of them. Walk the feet in. And there you go. That is today's warm-up mobility variation.